As Christians, the more emotionally fit we are, the better we can walk in the Spirit of God, the better we can love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, like the first commandment commissions us to do. If we are better emotionally and being emotionally fit, we can actually love our neighbors as ourselves, even if they think differently than you do, even if they vote differently than you do. We can be emotionally fit. We can actually practice the emotions of love, graciousness, kindness, in those situations that we find very challenging. Wouldn't you like to be in a situation where you could just decide to be loving? Now, if you're a parent, you've probably had to make that choice sometimes because your kids, they challenge you, right? If you're married, you've had to make those decisions. Wouldn't it be fun to be able to decide to love anyone, anytime? When we are emotionally fit, we are more likely to do what the scripture says and let our words be seasoned with grace. In Colossians 4:6, it says, "Let your speech always be seasoned with grace, with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man." Now, I don't know about you, but I have a sneaking suspicion that, like myself, you've had a few less than proud moments where you said some things that later you deeply regretted. This wasn't just because you were spiritually immature. It's often because you're not emotionally fit. See, your spiritual disciplines guarantee you spiritual maturity. But where are our emotional disciplines? When you're not emotionally fit, it goes like this in real time, in a real relationship, even if you deeply love the other person. This could be your favorite person in the world. This could be your parents. This could be your spouse, your husband, your wife. This could be your best friend for 20 years. This could be anybody, all right? You begin to have a feeling that you can't identify. Then this feeling keeps getting bigger and bigger inside of you pretty fast. We call that escalation, okay? And it could be sadness, it could be excitement, it could be anger, it could be frustration. And you can't seem to manage it inside of you, so it's getting bigger. And as it grows, you burp out some kind of puke on the other person, okay? And it's like, what? And it's like almost like an involuntary kind of thing. You wish you never said it. If you had a clear moment, you would have never even thought to say that. But your emotions are not fit. You couldn't manage them. Then you get confused as to why you did that. And then you also have regret. I've had regret. I've had times when I've had to go back and say, forgive me. Okay, now, if you're humble, you do apologize. Okay, but there's still that pain for the other person. There's still things you said that are stuck in their heart. Okay, now if you're very prideful and you can't apologize, you let the other person stay in pain unnecessarily. Okay, and if right now, I'm just going to stop for a second and say, if you know there's someone that you hurt with your words, I want you to call them. Just go call them and say you're sorry. Because you don't want those things between you and those you love. You don't need to have it. Okay, it's a whole nother topic, a whole nother show. But that was because you were emotionally immature. Now, if you are more emotionally fit, even with the same level of spiritual maturity, this situation could go down in a totally different way, okay? Go a different path, and the results are different for you and for them. So let's go through the same exact scenario. If someone was emotionally mature, this is what would happen as they're starting to have feelings, okay? Number one, they would be able to identify what they're feeling. They would be able to say, wow, I'm feeling disrespected right now. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling unheard. Now see how those feeling words are so much more intelligent than I don't know what's going on with me. All I know is I'm getting upset or angry or whatever your big feeling word is, okay? and it just seems like a balloon's going up, where this person's able to paint the balloon and go, no, this isn't anger. I'm just feeling disrespected, or I'm feeling unimportant. Now, secondly, they would be able to manage the internal intensity. They would feel this balloon getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but they would be able to manage it so that they don't do anything that they would regret. Number three, they would be able to ask and discover the other person's feelings and gain insight into what's going on inside of them. So a mature emotional person can say, hey, I'm really feeling unheard here. You know, is there something going on with you? Are you feeling something towards me that we need to talk about? And they would actually be able to inquire, not declare, you're mad at me. You don't have the power to declare other person's reality. If you're that person, you're constantly making people defensive because you're wrong, okay? But they'll be able to communicate in such a way to say, hey, what's going on with you, okay? And as these feelings begin to get amplified, they would be able to look at their tone of voice, be able to manage what's going on. Now, 5, they would be able to choose their words more carefully and not have to regret their behavior or words. And more likely, the other person feels heard and respected, even if they still disagree. And sometimes, when you're in a situation where it's getting intense, and if you're emotionally fit and you realize the other person is not going to go along with you, not going to be mature, you can say, hey, this isn't working for me right now. Why don't we both calm down and then we can have this conversation later? Now, in both these situations, it's the emotional fitness that's the variable, not their faith, not their love of Jesus, not their Christianity. And I believe every believer can benefit from being emotionally fit. The results are tremendous. You can do a group in your home. You can do a group in your church. You can take advantage of these principles in the emotional fitness book. Do it together. Do it as a team. And what can happen is your whole little cell group or Sunday school can become incredibly more emotionally fit. And we've seen thousands of people's lives changed by this material because there's nowhere where you get trained to do emotional fitness. Not in high school, not in college. I got 4 degrees that none of them helped me with that. You have to do it yourself. It's like golf. You have to pick up the club and you have to swing and swing and swing, and then you get better at it. No one just picks up a club and plays golf. So I'm going to encourage you, go ahead and take a step into getting the emotional fitness for yourself, for a group, and change everyone's life.